guys, I'm Bernadette with In the Making, and I'm so excited to get our Like to Read It series kicking off, ready to go. Let's do this. I'm so excited, okay? So hopefully you have your mixed drink, your cup of wine, your coffee cup full of whiskey if you so desire, whatever, and you're ready to visit just a little bit. Okay, so without further ado, this is the book that I picked out for our very first episode of our series of Like to Read It. So it is stories from the influencer next door that LIKEtoKNOW.it put out. And I thought this was a really interesting book. First of all, it totally caught my eye, and I don't know why, because it was a gray, nondescript book. But once I cracked it open and started reading into it, it was really interesting because it was more of an interview style of a book where all the influencers that were interviewed were asked certain consistent questions. And so once you compiled all the answers, it was really interesting to see the different trends of the answers they gave and the information that kind of surfaced that I thought would be really helpful to you guys, to everybody who wants to be an influencer, all the way to people that just want to be inspirational to the community they're building on social media or their website, their blog, whatever the case may be. So I have a whole notebook full of notes here, so just bear with me because I'll be referring to them. But let's get started with the very first question of where and when did your influencer brand or your Instagram brand, your blog, your Facebook presence get its start? And I thought that was really interesting because it didn't really matter when people got started. So there were people that started all the way as early adopters in 2012, all the way to like present day, 2018, 2019. And then on top of that, it really didn't matter if the influencers that were interviewed had a college degree. Some did not. Some had high school education. Some dropped out of college. So it really didn't matter what their educational background was. The influencers, some of them had corporate jobs, some of them were stay-at-home moms, which is a huge job in and of itself. Some of them played sports. I mean, they just came from all different walks of life. And I think that's very important to convey to you guys, that you don't need a fancy MBA. You don't need to have this, massive New York corporate job with Vogue. You don't need that to inspire and influence others. So I thought I really loved that all these different people came from all different walks of life. And on top of that, they all had different looks. So all different shapes, all different skin tones, all different hair colors. You had it. I loved it because there was so much diversity that we are seeing now today with influencers and people that are striving to inspire their communities as they build them. So I really loved that. One of the questions that really stood out to me that I absolutely loved was, and I'm going to read this from my notes, what was the most important skill they taught themselves along the way? So what was the most important skill that these influencers taught themselves along the way? And the number one skill that came up was self-worth. And that is a skill that you have to practice, you have to build, and you have to maintain. And I think from day one, just speaking from experience, not as an influencer, but just as a business owner, from day one, if you are not working in some way on your self-worth, it is going to be a hard uphill battle. So if you can work on your self-worth from the beginning or start today, you will only benefit from that. Because I can tell you now that I didn't struggle at all with how my hair looked today. I didn't struggle with the fact that I have a Pink Ladies, what do you think of this? Pink Ladies pleather, fake leather jacket on. I didn't struggle with any of that. I don't struggle with the fact that I poured whiskey into a wine glass because I couldn't find another glass because my coffee cup was already full of coffee. I didn't struggle with any of that because I know that if somebody doesn't like that, they don't like my style, they don't approve of me, then they will go elsewhere and they will find the right tribe for them. And the people that don't mind that I poured whiskey in a wine glass and will probably slug away at some of that while I'm talking to you, that tribe will stay and they will feel comforted by the fact that not everybody has a perfect glass to hold their liquor. Not everybody has, I said liquor. Not everybody has wine just sitting on hand. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do, and there it is. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm fine if someone leaves a nasty comment or sends me an email berating me. I'm okay with that. I am. I'm okay with that. And that is because I have worked on my self-worth for years now. For years. I know that I have value to the right people, and if people find that they don't think that I have value, then they're just not in the right place. They're a little bit lost, and they'll find their way elsewhere. Okay, so I left this next question in the book that the interviewers asked most of the influencers, and it was, if you could go back and tell yourself anything, what would it be? So the very first answer that really struck a chord with me was start sooner. So you guys, how many of you are currently sitting there waiting for the right time, the perfect time to start? And until the conditions are perfectly right, when you've lost 10 pounds, when your hair is a little longer, when your skin is cleared up, when you have just the perfect amount of money, when the planets all align to make it perfect, that's when you'll finally start. And these influencers, I loved this answer. Start sooner. Don't wait. First of all, there's never going to be a perfect time. There's always going to be something if you let it. And start sooner. And that was a regret of theirs, to not start sooner. Looking back, they wish they had started sooner. And I love that because, man, regrets. Let's not have them. Let's just start sooner. Okay, so another answer that I really loved was, every person has something unique only to them that no one else can replicate. And there was also a quote that kind of piggybacked off of that, and I'm going to read that to you because I loved it. This quote was, use what talents you possess. The woods would be very silent if no birds sang there except for those that sang best. Okay? So we need all of the voices. There is somebody out there waiting for you and your voice and your story and exactly how you deliver your message. There's somebody out there waiting exactly for that. Okay? So just know that there are people out there that need you, and they do. I'm a firm believer in that. Okay, so another question that the interviewers asked the influencers was, what advice would you give to yourself when you were just starting out as an influencer? So, practice patience. Do not take any of the roadblocks personally. So, I think across the board, most influencers, if not all of them, knew that when they started out, it was a long game. So, it was an investment in where they were hoping to arrive at. So, they all knew that they were just going to keep plugging away at it and keep working at it and to not give up. So practice patience with that journey and your progress. You will get there in due time, and just keep chipping away at it. And I love that because, if any of you have started a business, it's going to be a journey, and it's going to be an investment, and it's going to take some time. And even I forget that. Like, why is this not happening faster? And it's like, because it's all unfolding the way that it's supposed to unfold, and that is exactly what needs to be happening. And my gosh, you guys, sometimes that drives me to want to drink, and actually let's all take a drink. Cheers. Cheers to the journey. Cheers to progress. Let's do this. Come on. Truly. Woo! That is straight whiskey. Woo! Yes. All right. Moving on. Okay. I loved this as well. Being different is a good thing. Being like someone else is not sustainable. So you guys, it comes back to self-worth. Being comfortable with exactly who you are, what your message is, what your voice is, what your story is, being comfortable and sitting at peace with that. At peace with that. And the fact that that's what makes you unique. And that is what will draw the right people to you. The right people will find you. They will. They will. Just like your friends have found you. The right people will find you. I like that. I really do. And I think that's a foundational piece of advice that we all need to take. Be yourself unapologetically. So there's lots of influencers out there that have a crazy sense of style. And again, there is a match for them out there. There is a whole tribe and a community of people that love that very thing that that influencer is putting out there and feel inspired by it. They feel inspired by that influencer's words. So know that your uniqueness is your ticket to success. And if you are copying anybody else in what they're doing because you think they have the secret to success, you're missing the whole point, and you might as well not try. And I'm serious about that. If you're not in it to be yourself, you're cheating yourself, and you're also cheating your community, because the inauthenticity, if I can say that 3 times, they will sniff that out eventually, because it's not sustainable. Just like this influencer said, it can't be sustained over the long term. Comparison is the thief of joy and creative energy. You guys, keep your head down, mind your own business, literally, like mind the business that you're trying to grow, the influencer business that you're trying to grow, your progress towards being inspirational to your community. Mind that part, mind that business, and keep your eye on that. There are plenty of people that are going to be successful out there. They might get there a little bit faster than you. They might get there a little bit slower than you. There's constantly people out there succeeding. You cannot get sucked into comparison, that comparison game. The final bit of advice that I just loved from this influencer book was that this one influencer was seeing very little growth in all of the effort she was putting into her social media accounts and just growing as an influencer or trying to inspire her community. And she said that once she decided to be more herself and inject a little bit of life and vulnerability into the whole journey that she was sharing with her community and her tribe, once she started letting her followers into her self-love journey, her body positive thoughts, once she opened up a little bit and decided, okay, I'm just going to try being myself. I'm just going to be the best person that I can be. I'm going to present myself as myself. I'm going to revel in the uniqueness that is me, because that's all I can do. Once she did that, she said she finally connected with her community and her growth took off. And I can't even imagine what kind of relief she must have felt to be like, thank God I can just stop the act and just be myself. And the community embraced that, and her growth took off. And that's just, you guys, what a message, that just be yourself. You will be loved by the right people. The people that don't want to stay because they need to find their own tribe, let them go. They need that. They need to find their own group out there. And it's okay if you're not that person, because my God, then you're going to be fighting trolls and people trying to correct your spelling and people trying to criticize the fact that you put whiskey in a wine cup and the wine cup has spots on it. Wow. You know, it's okay. Let them go. Go, little bird. Be free. Yes. So, okay. So to wrap this up, Stories from the Influencer Next Door by LIKEtoKNOW.it. Loved the book. Loved that you could page through it pretty fast because it was kind of like a coffee table book. I loved the great advice in there. And I love where the online community is currently going with all shapes and sizes, all different stories. And the fact that the bottom line is, again, you guys, I know I'm harping on this, but there's a community out there ready to receive you exactly as you are. Exactly as you are. No matter what your size is, no matter how your hair looks, no matter what clothes you're wearing, no matter if you're, drinking whiskey out of a wine cup and maybe pouring a little bit of whiskey in your coffee cup too. There is a community out there waiting for you to be exactly who you are and for you to just do you. Okay, so you guys, thank you so much for joining this first episode of Like to Read It. I can't wait to introduce more books to you guys. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this book and some of the information that I shared with you from the book. Go out and find it. You can get it at your library. You of course can get it on Amazon. You can get it at your local bookstore. But it's an interesting read. It really is, and I was not expecting that. So yeah, join us next time. This is a sometime series because it takes us a little while to read our next book. But join us, and I can't wait to preview the next book to you guys. And make sure when we join up again to do Like to Read It, that you have your glass of wine, your mixed drink, your wine glass full of whiskey, your coffee cup, whatever it is you need. And I can't wait to visit with you guys for the next episode. Yay! Thank you so much for joining me. See y'all.